Shalom Israel, and welcome to another edition of Yasharellah's 20-minute breakdown, where I'll attempt to break down the scriptures within 20 minutes. But most importantly, as you know how we do it, we give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Waha, Rakah, Kadash, and the Akims and the elders in the highways and the byways pushing this word in truth and sincerity. All praises to you. And the elder women teaching the younger women, and the camps edifying the body, making edifying videos and pushing it through social media and every outlet possible. All praises to you too. Now, what I'm going to be touching on today is Romans 11, verse 1. Yeah, and I'll read that to you for you shortly. But the reason why I'm touching on this verse, because when you read Romans 11 and 1, it will tell you that has God cast away his people. Now, when you read the scriptures, you know his people are Israel, the Israelites. There's no two ways about that. But somehow through the Christian church, they have this thing about spiritual Israel because, like Gentiles, they use this Gentiles grafted in. Now they're trying to say you can be spiritual Israel, not literally of the seed of Jacob. Now, once you believe, you are spiritual Israel. But the Bible doesn't substantiate that whatsoever. And the scripture they use mostly to talk about spiritual Israel is obviously they always run to Paul's letters, because with Paul's letters, first and foremost, when you are reading Paul's letters, one should not be reading Paul's letters if you are unlearned. Peter taught you that in 2 Peter 3 15 to 16. He teaches you that that it will basically be a stumbling block to you because you don't understand the way how Paul wrote. You don't understand his letters, and the reason why you don't understand what he wrote to, like the Galatians, Corinthians, Colossians, and all these other Greek provinces in Asia, is because you don't know the law. You do not know the Old Testament. That's why you don't understand Paul's writings, because you don't know the Old Testament and you don't know the law. If you did, you would understand fully and clearly what Paul was saying when he wrote to those called out assemblies in these certain areas. And who he wrote to wasn't just anybody, they were to the heads of the congregation. So the heads of the congregation, when they received these letters, they'll be reading it like, yep, okay, yep, we know this. They knew the law. So Paul didn't have to explain his position because they knew what he was talking about. Now, the verse the church likes to use to say about spiritual Israel, they like to use Romans 2, verse 28, about where it says a Jew is not one outwardly. That's what they like to say. But what does that mean? A Jew is not one outwardly. Well, if you read on, it tells you about a Jew being one inwardly, meaning circumcision of the heart, because what was happening at that time, the Jews that were circumcised to the latter, meaning in the flesh, because there was a law in Israel on the after, like when a male child was born, on the 8th day, they had to be circumcised in the flesh, meaning your foreskin. And there were also other ordinances and laws they had to keep. Yeah, and that was to the latter. Now when and also the let's not forget the sacrificial laws they had to keep. They had to, like, if they sinned, meaning breaking the laws of God, they had to sacrifice an animal to atone for their sin. And also there were some sins that couldn't be atoned for, where your own blood had to be spilled. Now the Messiah coming, he now changed that. He made a better covenant, meaning now you had grace. Now you could repent, meaning to change from them ways. Now, what was happening at that time, the Jews that were keeping the law, they were persecuting and having no dealings with the ones that wasn't, i.e., the northern kingdom. So the southern kingdom wasn't dealing with the northern kingdom. So now what Paul was trying to show them, that a Jew isn't one outwardly. it was inwardly by keeping the law, statute, commandments, and also the fact that it was like circumcision of your heart, not of the flesh and the latter things. That's what Paul was trying to teach those ones that was having no dealings with the northern kingdom. And that's what that goes into. You still had to be the seed of Jacob. There was no question about that. You couldn't not be a seed of Jacob and claim to be an Israelite. It didn't work like that way. If you was from any other nation, you were considered a natural Gentile. But if you was the seed of Jacob, meaning an Israelite, but didn't know you were living like Greek under the Greek captivity and so on, you were classed as a Gentile, but because you were Hellenized under the Greeks. That's what that meant. Okay, well, let's get into the lesson now. Without further ado, let's start with Romans 11:1, which is my opening scripture, and we're going to start my timer as always in 3, 2, 1. Right, we're away. Right, let's go for it. Romans 11 verse 1, and it reads, I say then, has God cast away his people? Then it says, God forbid. See, so it says no. So he's showing you clearly he hasn't cast away his people. Then he reads, for I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham of the tribe of Benjamin. Now, if it didn't matter, why is Paul making reference? Why is he letting you know that he is an Israelite of the seed of Abraham? So obviously it does matter, because if it didn't, he wouldn't have to make that point to show you that he is of the seed of Abraham and of the tribe of Benjamin. And notice he said the seed of Abraham. He didn't just say, oh, I'm an Israelite. So he made you know the seed. What is the seed according to the Bible? Well, let's see that too. Let's go to the book of Leviticus 15 and verse 16. Now listen to this. This is the book of Leviticus chapter 15 verse 16, and it reads, and if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water and be unclean until even. Now, the point I wanted to show you out there, notice what it said at the beginning. If any man's seed of copulation. What is seed of copulation? His sperm. So that's your seed. Your seed is your sperm, your physical sperm that emits from you during certain acts with a woman, of course. And that is what Paul is talking about. So he's letting you know the seed, he comes from the lineage. He's, from man and woman coming together brings children. So he's showing you he is of that seed. Now, and then he does say, has God cast away his people? See, now, every time Paul speaks, Paul is quoting the law. Paul knows, Paul was a doctor in the law. He was a Pharisee, remember? He was taught by Gamaliel, which was a doctor in the law. Paul knew the law. Now, listen to this. I'm going to go to, let's go to Psalms, let's go to the book of Psalms, verse 94. And we'll read verse 14 and listen to what this reads. It says, for the Lord will not cast off his people, neither will he forsake his inheritance. Now you see that? Now it says the Lord will not cast off his people. Now let's see. We're going to break things down piece by piece, as in the book of Isaiah said. Precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. Now he said he will not cast off his people. Now who is his people? Now that's simple. Watch this. We go to the book of Matthew chapter 2 and verse 6. It reads this. Book of Matthew chapter 2 verse 6. And thou Bethlehem in the land of Judea, art not the least among the princes of Judah? For out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. So now you know who his people is. His people is Israel. And how does he see his people? And I'm going to show you that too. This is how the Most High sees his people. We're going to go to the book of Exodus, chapter 4, verse, we go to 4 and verse 22. Now listen to this. This is when they were still in before they've left Egypt. They were still like bondmen in Egypt, bondmen and bondwomen, and Pharaoh didn't want to let them go. Now listen to this. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 4, verse 22, and it reads, "And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh," this is when the Most High is telling Moses what he should say to Pharaoh, and it reads, "And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn." So you see, he looks at Israel as his firstborn, so he's not going to cast Israel off. Yeah? Now listen to this. This is going to back this up even further. Now watch this. I'm going to go to the book of Jeremiah. Now check this out. See how do you like this one? Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 37. And it reads, "Thus saith the Lord, if heaven above can be measured, and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast off all the seed of all that have Salaki." Let me read that again. I've just gone wrong. This is Jeremiah 31 and 37, and it reads, Thus saith the Lord, if heaven above can be measured, and the foundation of the earth searched out beneath, I will cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, saith the Lord. That's it. Sorry, I read that correctly now. So you see, and we know heavens above, the heavens above and the earth beneath cannot be searched out or measured. So that's showing you he will not cast off his people. And watch this. I'm going to further prove that. Watch this. I'm going to go to the book of First Kings, chapter 10, and verses 9. Let's go 10:9. Listen to this. And it reads, "Blessed be the Lord thy God, which delighteth in thee, to set thee on the throne of Israel, because the Lord loved Israel forever." You hear that? He's never said that about no other nation. He said that Lord loved Israel forever. Therefore made he thee king to do judgment and justice. So you see, he set a king over Israel. That's back in the days of kings. But it's showing you that the Lord loved Israel forever. So he would not cast off his people. Simple as that. Now, I mean, you want to look how the Most High has sent, like the Messiah unto us, and all this help we've had from him, and we haven't returned to him fully. Now, watch this. Even back in Exodus, when we came out of Israel, Salaki, when we came out of Egypt from the hand of Pharaoh. Listen to how the Most High dealt with us when we were in the wilderness, when we were, when we came out of Egypt. I'm going to read you. Let's go. Exodus. Let's go to Exodus. Look how he took care of us. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 23. Let's go chapter 23 and verses 20. We'll do 20 to 22. Now listen to this. It's the book of Exodus, chapter 23 and verse 20. It says, "Behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way, and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared." So you see, he sent an angel before us, even in the wilderness. Remember, a pillar of cloud in the day and a pillar of fire by night. So we were led by a cloud in the day and a pillar of fire by night. But let's see who exactly was leading us. This is what we have to understand. Watch this. Right, verse 21 now of Exodus 23. And then it reads, "Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him." So what's that showing you? It's showing you even like the Messiah, as the one as we ignorantly call Christ today, was with us even back, well, should I say, with our forefathers, even back in the wilderness, as a pillar, like a cloud in the daytime, and a pillar of fire, like of fire at night, leading us. So he's always been with us. Remember, the Messiah is the first creation that the Most High made. Yeah. Remember in Genesis, let there be light. There was light, and he saw the light was good. You know, that was the first creation. Christ was the first creation. And then after you look, as you read on, you'll see now he says, let there be light again, separate night from darkness. So you see, there's a different comparison. You have to read with understanding to get the full picture. Now, watch this. Now, I'm gonna read you. I'm just gonna further prove all these things to show that Israel is his chosen people. Watch this. I'm going to read to you, go back to the book of First Kings. Let's do 8 and 16. You're going to see a repetitive theme here. Now listen to this now. It reads, the book of First Kings chapter 8 verse 16. Since the day that I brought forth my people Israel out of Egypt, you see, I chose no city out of all the tribes of Israel to build an house, that my name might be therein, but I chose David to be over my people Israel. You see, now he set David, because the reason why did he set David to be over Israel? Because David was a man after his own heart. David kept the charge of the Most High fully. He made a little error. Who doesn't? Yeah, so that's not the issue. The issue is the Most High said it was a man after his own heart. You can read that in other scriptures. Yeah, now watch this. I'm going to go to the book of Samuel, 2 Samuel, chapter 3, verse 18, and listen to what this reads. It says, now then, do it, for the Lord has spoken of David, saying, by the hand of my servant David, I will save my people Israel out of the hand of the Philistines and out of the hands of all their enemies. So you see, he's going to use David to save us. And how is he going to use David? Watch this. You're going to like this one. I'm going to go to Romans 1. Watch this. This is how he's going to use David. Romans 1. And I'm going to go to Romans 1. Verse 3. Now listen to this. It's the book of Romans, chapter 1 and verse. I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, I'll start at verse 1. It says, Paul, a servant of the Messiah, called to be an apostle, separated unto the gospel of God. Now listen to this now. Verse 2, which he had promised aforetime by his prophets in the holy scriptures. See? All this is the Holy Scriptures, which is what I'm reading to you, which the promise that the Most High made. Now listen to one of the promises he made. Verse 3, concerning his Son, the Messiah, our Lord, which was made of the seed of David according to the flesh. You see that? According to the flesh. Now, we can back that up further. Watch this. We're going to go to Romans 9. And we're gonna pick it up at verse 3. Listen to this. The book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 3. Paul once again says, for I wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh. See, the seed, sperm, the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, being adopted back into the covenant, because remember, they were cast off for worshipping idols and going astray. So now they can be adopted back into the covenant. The glory of the Most High, the covenants, the old and the new covenants, and the giving of the law. Only the Israelites were given the law, and the service of God. Only the Israelites can teach the laws and serve God. And the promises, all the promises that pertain to the Israelites. See, all this is all Romans. It's telling you everything. You go in the book of Romans, it's so self-explanatory. Yeah? And what was the purpose of the Messiah coming? Watch this. This is Matthew 1. I'm going to go to the book of Matthew. chapter 1, verses, let's do verses 21. Now listen to this. The book of Matthew, chapter 1, verse 21. It says, and she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name, it says Jesus, but I like to say the Messiah, call his name Jesus. And listen to this, for he shall save his people from their sins. So notice it didn't say all people, it said he shall save his people from their sins. It doesn't say all people, only his people from their sins. Now listen to this. This is Deuteronomy 28. Sorry, not 28. I'm going to go Deuteronomy, not 28, Salaki. Deuteronomy 18, verse 18. Now check this out. Now listen to this. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18, verse 18. And this is one of the promises. He says, I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren. You see, remember, Christ is an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. Tells you that in the scriptures. And I'll take it from the top again. Deuteronomy 18, verse 18. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. Now you see that? Now see, the Most High is telling us that he was going to raise up a prophet unto us like from among our brethren, and he'll put all his words in his mouth. In the words Christ must. So Christ knew everything. There's nothing he didn't know, apart from when he would return, when he would make the second coming, because he tells you, the Messiah himself tells you, nobody knows but my Father which is in heaven only. That's showing you the separation as well for all those Trinity believers. We can go into that at another time too, to show you there's no such thing as a Trinity. Anyway, now watch this now. So I'm going to go to, watch this. I'm going to go to the book of Genesis, chapter 17, verse 21. I'm going to prove all things this evening. Genesis 17, let's go 17, verse 21. And listen to what the Most High says here. He says, this is when, actually, let's go 20, so you get the context quickly. And he says, because this is when Abraham is saying about Ishmael. What about Ishmael? Now we'll take up from there. And he says, Genesis 17, verse 20. And he says, and as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him and will make him fruitful and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes. Remember, it says 12 princes, not the 12 tribes of Israel. It says 12 princes shall he begat, and I will make him a great nation. Is not the Ishmaelites a great nation? They've got wealth right now. They're not struggling. They're not in captivity. And listen to this, verse 21. But, stipulation, but my covenant I will establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year. So you see, even though Ishmael was Abraham's firstborn, he tells you clearly, I've heard you, he said to Abraham, I've heard you about Ishmael. Don't worry. Yes, he is your seed. I will bless him. He'll be fruitful. But my covenant, meaning all the promises and everything that pertaineth to it, is with Isaac. And then you will see from Isaac, it will go down to Jacob, and then the 12 tribes of Israel. It's clear cut. It's so clear cut. It's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, I don't know what to say. Anyway, let's move on. Now, let me just quickly prove like how his covenant is for us. Listen to this. Now, I'm going to go to the last book of the Bible, which is Revelations. Listen to what it says about the kingdom, because everybody likes to say, oh, a believer, whoever is a believer makes it into the kingdom. Well, let's see what the scriptures say about that. Now, this is Revelations 21, verse 12. I'm going to pick it up at verse 12, where John has seen the kingdom ascending from heaven, yeah? And we pick it up from verse 12, and it says, and had a wall great and high. So it had a wall great and high. Why would you have a wall around something? Obviously, and great and high, to keep things out, possibly. Well, let's read on and see. and had 12 gates. Now, there's only 12 gates on the kingdom. And at the gates 12 angels. So there's like 12 angels guarding these gates. So there's 12 bouncers guarding these 12 gates. Now let's see what's about this gate. And names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. So you see that? 12 tribes of the children of Israel. So the kingdom of heaven only has 12 gates. It has a wall great and high, 12 gates, and on them gates is the names written, 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Well, I have to cut it now because I'm about to time out. So I hope you got something with that. This is Yasharella's 20-minute breakdown. Signing out. Keep the faith. Keep strong, brothers and sisters. Once again, as always, we out.